So here's an interesting little fact for you. The United Nations has been trying to achieve world peace ever since 1945. Well, it's now been 81 years, and after thousands of deals and hundreds of meetings and millions of guys in suits eating tiny sandwiches in Geneva, we've got absolutely nothing to show for it. The world is in absolute chaos. Meanwhile, your boy Sharif, who's not just extremely good looking, but also extremely jacked, check this out. Woo! Look at that. Anyway, I achieved that world peace in just one afternoon, and literally all I needed was Cornhub. Now, you might think that I'm joking, but I'm actually being dead serious right now. You see, every single year, Cornhub puts out something called Year in Review. It's a report full of numbers, charts, and quotes from real doctors with real degrees. And it actually blew my mind how well researched this thing is. It's actually better than what most governments do. So here's what happened. I went through this entire report again and again, and if I'm being honest, I could not stop reading it. Because buried inside this data is what I believe to be the guide to world peace. So I came up with 5 theories to how we can achieve this world peace, and I decided to name it Sharif's 5 Theories to World Peace. Yes, I know it's not the best name, but trust me, the theories are very good. So let's go through them one at a time. So Sharif's first theory is that every country is obsessed with the exact same thing, and that is hentai. I hope I pronounced that correctly. I honestly didn't even know what this word meant before I started this research, but let me explain what it is to you guys. So it's basically cartoon adult content, but get this, it's been the most searched word on Cornhub for the last 5 years. Not in one country, not in 2 countries, but on the whole website across the whole world for 5 years. This generation is so cooked, bro. Oh my God. But here's the thing. I want you to think about what that means. So basically right now, someone in Japan is watching hentai, someone in Brazil is watching hentai, someone in Germany, Egypt, Mexico, Bahamas, they're all watching hentai at the exact same time, without talking to each other, without even knowing each other exists. And these countries usually fight about everything: trade, borders, who invented what food, whether it's called football or soccer. By the way, it's called football. If you ever call it soccer, get some help. But here's my point. With hentai, there's no argument. Everyone agrees on it and they all love it. And do you know what world leaders spend years trying to do? Finding a common ground, something that connects people across every language, country, culture. And the answer was here the whole time. It's hentai. And it's not just hentai. So Italy and Egypt have basically never agreed on one single thing across all of human history. But when I dug through this report, I found out they were watching the exact same stuff. I noticed that transgender content is in the top 3 for both of them. That's literally their common ground. Basically what Sharif's first theory is trying to say is that we're all way more similar than we think. If you strip away everything, the flags, the culture, the languages, underneath it all, we all have the same search history. I'm calling it the hentai handshake, and I'm submitting it to the UN on Monday. Okay, so on to theory 2, and this one I'm actually very proud of. This theory basically says that every country is so in love with itself that it doesn't have time to start a war. So basically, here are the numbers. Can you guess what the most searched word in Italy was? I'll give you a few seconds while I take a sip of water. Take your time. So the answer is Italiano. And Italy searches it 1,645% more than any other country on earth. And Germany searches Deutsch 1,043% more than everyone else. France searches Francais 1,337% more. Brazil searches Brasilia 915% more. Egypt searches their own stuff 938% more. Are you seeing the pattern here? These countries are locked in on themselves all day, every day. So when Germany is 1,043% more into German content than every other country, do you think Germany's really trying to start trouble? Well, no, because Germany's very busy being extremely German and doesn't have the time or energy to bother anyone else. France can't invade anyone because France is 1,337% obsessed with France right now. So you want to stop these wars? Well, you don't need big armies. You don't need big scary weapons. You just need every country to become so proud of itself that it gets completely distracted. I'm calling this the National Vanity Peace Plan. I just made it up, but it works. Oh, and here's what I found interesting. Do you know which country is the only one that didn't search for itself? Canada. The report literally says, and here's the exact quote, North Americans seemingly have no interest in searching for content featuring themselves. Canada doesn't care about Canada, and yet Canada is one of the most peaceful countries on earth. So either my theory is wrong or Canada is just built different. I choose to believe that Canada is just built different. Okay, so this one needs a bit of a backstory. Do you guys remember earlier this year when this dumbass CEO got filmed at a Coldplay concert with one of his employees? And it was very obvious they weren't just there for the music, if you know what I'm saying. Well, when that thing happened, the internet went completely crazy. It went so mega viral that literally every country was talking about it. And here's what happened on Cornhub that very same week. Get this is kind of crazy. Searches for CEO went up 388%, office affair went up 210%, cheating went up 94%, caught cheating went up 53%, and sneaky cheating went up 148%. Now here's what I think this means for world peace. That week, the whole world's brain was taken up by this one story. Everyone was talking about it, thinking about it, searching it, and nobody started a war that week. You simply cannot be mad at another country while you're also trying to figure out how the camera caught that exact angle. Your brain doesn't have room for both. It's not possible. So here's my plan. Every like 3 months, we set up a small celebrity scandal. Nothing that hurts anyone. Just something fun and juicy that the whole world can talk about for about 10 days. The Coldplay concert literally kept people busy for 10 days or even more. That's millions of people who were distracted from everything else. The UN spends about $3 billion a year to try to keep peace. A Coldplay concert ticket costs around 80 bucks. I'm just saying. Okay, I have to admit, Theory 4 came out of nowhere, but it's low-key my favorite one. This theory says that old people are gonna save the world, and Pornhub can prove it, because here's what the data says. The older you are, the longer you spend on this website per visit, and I mean way longer. You see, the 18 to 24 age group, they spend 26 seconds less than the average person. Meanwhile, people who are aged 55 to 64, they spend 89 seconds more than the average. Now, here's the biggest shocker. People who are 65 and up, they spend a full 2 minutes more than the average. Damn, these grandpas are really out here. Anyway, here's what it means for my world peace theory. Basically, this data is showing that older people are more patient. They're more willing to stick onto the website and they're not in a rush, basically. Young people, on the other hand, they're very impatient. They're spending less time on the website because they want things fast. And who makes most of the big world decisions? Politicians, leaders, generals. And what age are most of them? Very old. But here's the problem. Those old people in charge, they're making fast, rushed, and angry decisions. They're starting a bunch of wars and making a bunch of sanctions, and they're acting like the 18 to 24 crowd. So the fix is simple. We need our world leaders to slow down, take a deep breath, visit Pornhub, and just rub one out. The 65 plus Pornhub users have already figured this out. They're clocking in an extra 2 minutes of calm, relaxed, unhurried behavior compared to everyone else. So let's put some of these senior Pornhub users in charge of foreign policy. And I guarantee you, they won't be making any rash decisions and starting any wars. To prove this theory even further, get this. The report says that Japan spends the most time on this website than any other country, 11 minutes and 2 seconds on average. Meanwhile, Japan hasn't started a war since 1945. Coincidence? I think not. Okay, so Sharif's fifth theory says that Sunday night at 11 p.m. exactly, it should be an official global ceasefire by law. So get this, the single biggest traffic moment on all of Pornhub for the year 2025, I'm talking about like the peak for the entire year, was January 5th at 11 p.m. So you're probably thinking, okay, why that night? Well, 3 things happened. The Golden Globes had just finished, a big football game ended, and there was a massive snowstorm that kept everyone in the US inside. The result was more people on the website at the exact same time, more than any other moment during the year. But it's not just one night. Every single week, the data shows that the busiest time is between 10 p.m. and midnight. The busiest day, Sunday. The busiest hour, 11 p.m. Every single week without fail. So at 11 p.m. on Sunday, the whole world is home. They're all doing the same thing. They're not stressed. They're not angry. They're not thinking about invading anyone. The whole world is just chill. They're gooning. But you know what the lowest traffic time of the whole week is? 4 a.m. on Thursday. You know what people are doing at 4 a.m. on Thursday? Nothing good. No one has ever made a great decision at 4 a.m. on a Thursday. Nothing good has ever started at 4 a.m. on a Thursday. 4 a.m. Thursdays when you send a bad text, when you make a bad plan, when a country decides to do something you will regret. So here's my formal idea, which I'm sending to every world leader who has a public email. No wars, no attacks, no angry letters, no military stuff can happen between 10 p.m. and midnight on Sundays. Not because of some big fancy reason, because that is the 1 hour every week that the whole world is genuinely on the same page doing the same thing. Nobody wants drama at 11 p.m. Sunday. Everyone just wants to relax. So at this point, I just want to point out that the UN has spent 81 years trying to fix this problem, and I just did it in what, like 10 minutes or so, just using a corn site? You're welcome, world.